I got scammed out of $5,000 and you don't want to make the same mistake. John Hutchison here and this is DTF Secrets. So which DTF printer is right for you? Do you buy a converted or do you buy a purpose-built? Because if you choose the wrong one, just like me, you could be spending a lot of money basically investing it in the wrong way and losing out. I spent $5,000 in a converted printer and I practically chucked it in the bin. So let me share with you some of the pros and cons so that you don't make the same mistakes I have made. Let's discuss my story. So I decided to go all in on DTF. And when I first discovered the technology, I thought, wow, I was this far away from buying a whole screen printing setup. I saw one little thread, of a post on Facebook and changed my mind. And after doing extensive research on DTF, decided to go all in. I essentially burnt my bridges and just completely went for it. But I made a lot of mistakes, okay? So I bought a commercial unit straight away and it wasn't too good. It broke down probably about 6 weeks in after I first purchased it. So me being me and having a few customers and wanting to look after them, I essentially went on the search for a converted printer, something I could buy locally that would get me up and running quicker, because I had to wait, as it turned out, 7 weeks to get new parts come from China. So I sourced a guy that had a printer. It was an Epson 7800 printer. I talked to the guy, he seemed to know what he was talking about, and I paid $5,000 for this converted printer. Straight away, 24 hours in, it wasn't working. And then I hit problem after problem after problem after problem. Spent countless hours into 3, 4 o'clock in the morning trying to fix this damn thing. Like you do, you phone up the person you bought it from and he just started swearing at me. He said I had done something wrong. I at one point threatening to come up and kick my ass. But the problem was, it was a converted printer. It wasn't designed to do DTF. That wasn't its primary purpose in life. So converted printers, although sound really good and look good on the surface from a point of view of the cost, you got to look at the cost and what it's going to do for you, but whether or not it's really a sound investment. Converted printers lead to problems. Problems with the DTF ink. The white ink really can clog a printhead, and it happens quite quickly. So if you don't have other things in place, like ink circulation systems, you are really going to be struggling. And if you look at all the stories and all the groups, fantastic that we've got all these DTF groups on Facebook, you've only got to go in there and people asking how to solve these problems with these converted printers. So let's look at the pros and cons. While they might be cheap, the majority of people have major maintenance headaches. They have problems with their ink, they have problems with the print heads not printing the ink, they have problems with their colors, they have problems with things like application and curing. These are all problems related to really using a dedicated machine and not having a machine that has the consumables that match the machine. The other thing with a converted machine, as soon as it's converted, even if it's a brand new out of the box printer, you lose your warranty, okay? So there is no support. If you try and get support from the people that you bought it from, that's where a lot of all these problems come from. These people don't want to support you with this converted printer. There's lots of sad stories out there of people being scammed. I spent $5,000 and I practically chucked it in the bin. The other thing is DTF in general and converted printers, it's high in maintenance. There's a lot of false information out there about you buy this printer, it will work from day one and it will keep working. It doesn't happen. There's lots of associated problems with buying a converted printer. The consumer won't work ongoing, problems with white ink, people buying different film and powder, and they're all not working together. And the people that you're buying from really don't have the in-depth knowledge and experience to help you. What's the difference between a converted printer and a purpose-built printer? Well, purpose-built, right? They're dedicated to do that specific job. So they are built in a way that is to use the exact DTF ink, DTF film, and obviously the DTF adhesive. If you can work with a company that has kind of worked out best consumables that work for that specific printer, then a lot of the hard work is done for you. Because if you do have the wrong type of consumables, there are a number of problems that you can experience. Your colors. If you have bad ink, you're going to find you have bad colors. The thing with the ink is you want to choose an ink that has a really nice ICC profile. Now, a lot of the manufacturers are going to the trouble building the exact ICC profile for that machine. It's not one for another machine, you're not trying to make it fit and work. It's dedicated to the consumable ink that you generally get from the machine and the film. ICC profiles has to be done for both of them, because even something like changing a film can change the colors. That's why a profile has to be done for the ink and the film. But when it comes to the quality of the actual end product, the transfer, you have to have good ink, you have to have good film, but you also have to have good adhesive powder. Combined together is how you get the vibrancy, but also the ease of application, but also longevity. Because you want your colors to be fast, i.e. to last, and you want the powder to be have elasticity, and basically when it's cured on the garment, it has longevity. You don't want issues later with your prints are fading, your prints are peeling, they're flaking. It may look like watery and rubbed or ribbed on the actual garment, and all of that comes from working with a company that has worked that all out and that can demonstrate that. Now, with me and my company, we now have a 52 wash guarantee. We're so confident that we've worked out best type of printer to the best type of ink to the best type of film and the best type of adhesive powder in combination make up the longevity of the overall product. What are some of the things to be aware of when you're talking about a dedicated machine? The first thing, you want a machine that's built well. It has to be robust. It has to have high quality components. There's so many different machines out there, but how do you know? Well, you have to listen to the marketplace. You have to know who to speak to, and people share their experiences of the equipment they're using. So always look at referrals. A number of people who have had the machine for a little while and that are successfully producing good products, and they actually share how well the machine is going. So that is a good way to go. For me, I bought a HJD machine in the beginning. Unfortunately, it broke down, and then I had a nightmare getting parts. Obviously, a lot of these machines are coming out of China, so things to look out for. It's a good quality made machine. You'll generally find that out with the user base and what they're sharing. Second thing you want to look for essentially is their support. Is there remote support, local support? Now, there are companies now that sell, and maybe in your particular country, and they provide local support. But the problem there is then your machine is 50, 60, 70, even 100 times more expensive. So it really comes down to what you really want. Local support is good with certain companies. So my HJD experience, fortunately the support wasn't very good because there was a language barrier. I had to translate everything in WeChat, and it was a bit of a pain to do. And sometimes there's a delay because of the time zone. Like if you're in somewhere and it's completely opposite time zone to China, then you might struggle to get help from the people. The second thing is parts. Now, it's a printer, it's going to break down at some point. So you want to make sure that there's ease of parts available. If you got it locally, you want to make sure that they've got parts. Last thing you want, and in my situation, I had to get my parts all the way from China, and the particular part I needed took 7 weeks. So then that's how I got into the problem of buying a converted printer. You don't want to be in that, have that world of pain that I did. The second thing is, do they provide really good training? So certain companies have gone to the trouble now of providing video training where they talk you through each and every part of the build process, the setup, setting up the calibration, right through testing, and then through to when you've actually powdered the product and then actually putting the product onto a garment. With a dedicated machine, there are many advantages over that of a converted machine, as I said, but it really comes down to yourself. Are you technical? So many people out there are trying to sell this whole thing that is super easy, touch button, easy to do. It is not. There is a learning curve. You have to learn how to basically manage and maintain a printer. You also have to learn how to get to the ideal curing of the product. A good product, you want longevity. So there's that learning curve too. Things like, what is your preheat, in terms of pre-powder? Because if you don't do that, your ink might be too wet, and that causes problems. Then in the curing process with the adhesive, how long do you cure it for? What temp do you cure it for? And some of the things to watch out for, if it's undercured or overcured, it's going to cause you problems later on. Undercuring could result in it only lasts on the shirt for 3-4 days. Overcuring could be after 2 weeks, starts to peel and crack on the garment. This training through this company is super important on 1, the build and setup of your machine, 2, the maintenance routine that you have to do, 3, how do you spot these problems throughout the journey that you're going on with actually production of transfers, selling of transfers, and then supporting your customers when they do experience problems. Problems could be it's not peeling correctly, it's not sticking to the garment, the colors are not where they should be. Could be they've unwrapped it and some of the lettering is fallen off the film. So all these problems come out in terms of being trained and knowing exactly how to really understand the overall process. If you enjoyed this content and would love to see more, smash the subscribe button. I've also linked additional videos for you here.